From fake weights to fake supplements, the fitness community seems to go round and round in circles. First it was Jeff Cavalier and his fake weights, and now it's G-Shred and his fake supplements. And a twist of fantastic irony, the man who exposed one man as a fake also ends up being a fake himself. At the end of the day, there always seems to be one primary commonality in the fitness industry: fakeness, lies, deceit. You have these guys at the top earning small fortunes, and they seem to have gotten to their respective places for a very good reason. That reason being a conspicuous lack of scruples, the willingness to lie and deceive and essentially sell snake oil at your expense in order to build themselves a lucrative brand. By now, I'm sure you've all heard that the turkesterone that's been hyped up and marketed across YouTube fitness for the past several months or a year most likely isn't actually turkesterone. And G-Shred has pimped this fake supplement harder than anybody else on the platform. Now, I have had a few people ask me why I give Derek from More Plates, More Dates a pass. And I don't really. Simply for the fact that I have a hard time respecting anybody who sells these sorts of products just in general, because it is somewhat predatory in my opinion. But that said, I don't really know him well enough to speak on his role here. All I really know, the general kind of gist of things regarding him, is that he's kind of the one that brought turkesterone out into the forefront in recent history. But I don't watch his content, to be perfectly honest, because frankly, PEDs don't really interest me. So I can't speak earnestly as to what I think of him and his role in all of this, and so I have refrained from doing so, and this little bit is pretty much about as far as I'm going to go with it. I can speak on G-Shred, though, because I've been watching him since the fake weight scandal unfolded a couple years ago, back in 2020. Now, I made a video a couple weeks ago telling you guys not to waste your money on turkesterone, and that was when I thought it was actually turkesterone. Imagine what I think now. A lot of you guys like Greg, and you trust Greg, and you want to wish and hope that he did his due diligence, but there are no guarantees of that. The supplement industry is simply not regulated in the US, and it's easier to make large amounts of money by overhyping the hell out of a product and then shoving it down your massive audience's collective throat than it is to make sure that the obscure product that you're marketing is actually the obscure product that you are selling. Even if that product, when it is genuine, doesn't really do jack shit one way or the other. Now, if you're anything like me, with all these stipulations and ifs and whats and crap in place, your eyes should be rolling so hard by this point that they're in the back of your freaking head. And I gotta say, man, in spite of my strong feelings on the fake weights thing, selling fake supplements is probably even lamer than lifting fake weights as a means of convincing people to buy your training programs. At least, even if you bought an Athlean-X program just because you bought into the whole BS about being able to be shredded, 7% body fat year-round, while still being able to be massively strong and athletic and natural, at least even then, if you bought into all that, you still bought an exercise program, right? You still got something out of the transaction that has some level of value. Now, we can argue about what that value actually is, but at least there is something there. It may not do what you thought it was going to do, because at the end of the day, Jeff is still kind of selling you a pipe dream, but at least at a minimum, you still received what you thought you were purchasing, which is an exercise program. In terms of this supplement scandal, not only is the effectiveness of actual, real turkesterone unproven to begin with, dubious at best, and totally null at worst, but now it comes out that you're getting fake turkesterone in those magic little pills. It's barely even Turk, right? You likely aren't getting what is on the label of those bottles. And as such, the product you are receiving is not the product you are paying for. There's literally a zero value here. You are giving your money away and receiving an outright lie in return because it was cheaper and easier to skip the due diligence part of this process. That makes it a scam. The fact is, I could have my supplement company up and running tomorrow, selling you guys glorified fucking rice capsules at a premium simply because I say it's the next big thing, right? Chris Bell, Mark Bell's brother, showed us all years ago how truly easy it is to do this in his documentary, Bigger, Faster, Stronger. As long as I don't make claims that can be construed as medical advice, I can claim that my product, whether it be duck eggs, turkesterone, or just Alex's special sauce, is going to make you jacked out of your skull, more handsome than a male supermodel, and it's going to make all the ladies want you. And it is going to give you more boners than last time so that you can be sure to satisfy them all. And this is basically the supplement industry in a nutshell. So what can we do about this? That's kind of tough, man. Regulation, essentially government intervention, could have some benefits, but personally, I don't really want the government telling me what supplements that I have the right to buy either. If I want to waste my money on turkesterone, that should be my prerogative. But I want it to actually be turkesterone. The problem is that government regulation won't stop at making sure the label matches what is in the bottle. Government regulation would also likely create hard caps on what can and cannot be sold. And that's a slippery slope that I don't personally really want to walk down. I'm not even a big supplement user, right? I do use a few, mostly things like creatine, protein powder, certain vitamins. And the absolute last thing that I want is for my fucking vitamin D to be something that I can only obtain via prescription, right? As well, if I want to take a chance on an herb or a mineral or some obscure nutrient that may, we don't really know, but may have some value for some issues, that should be my prerogative. I should have the right to be an informed consumer and make my own decisions. So I don't really think regulation is the answer. I mean, it would solve some of the problems, but in my opinion, it would ultimately limit consumer availability to too large of a degree. Instead, I would opt for a culture shift from within the community. Frankly, this sort of thing, it should get you ostracized to the point where nobody buys your supplements anymore. Culturally, it should be considered so viscerally offensive that we all collectively boycott you after you pull something like this, an act which is careless at best and downright malicious at worst. And if you can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that what is in your pills matches what the label on your bottles say and what people thought that they were purchasing, then your only chance at redemption should be refunds to everyone and all, as well as a deep, sincere, and heartfelt apology. If the potential repercussions are bad enough, then eventually this would weed out most, or at least many, companies who would take the chance on doing something like this, either deliberately or through a lack of due diligence, because cutting that corner, it simply wouldn't be worth it anymore like it is now. Is this ever going to happen? No, I'm not naive enough to believe that. A sucker is born every day, and creating widespread culture change like that is pretty much an impossibility because people become emotionally attached to their favorite fitness YouTubers. We're all segmented amongst these different people, and essentially what I'm asking for is unity, right? Which is basically an impossibility. So you have these people, and the products that they're selling are almost unimportant, right? Because what they're really selling you on is a cult of personality. But in spite of that, videos that have come out recently, like the ones from Sika Strength, Zach Thielander, and Jeffrey Verdi Schofield, those are a service to the community, okay? They help to keep these sorts of problems in check, and they create accountability when and where it is required. And they help to make you guys into more informed consumers as well. And so, for that, I applaud these guys. Golf clap. You should be giving them a golf clap too. They're fighting the good fight. So let's try not to give them too much shit here, even if some of you guys are fans of some of the potentially guilty parties involved here. Beyond that, you got to become your own best advocate, man. I'm always preaching that because it's the best thing that we can do for ourselves, is to grab a hold of the fucking reins, man. If you're considering using a supplement, you should be scouring the available literature. You shouldn't just be taking the word of your favorite fitness YouTuber at face value. They can say what they want to say, Beyond that, you should be fact-checking for yourself. Websites like examine.com are a godsend for stuff like this because they've already compiled much of this literature for you and put a lot of it into an easily digestible format as well. And you should be scouring this literature to determine the potential efficacy of a compound before you even consider purchasing it. And if that literature doesn't exist, but a company is still selling that particular compound, perhaps you should be re-evaluating your opinion of that particular company. Anyway, pretty much all I wanted to cover today, but what do you guys think? Are fake supplements worse than fake weights? If a supplement company can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that what they're selling is actually what they're selling, then should the community come together and boycott those companies indefinitely? What is the best way to prevent fiascos like this from occurring and reoccurring ad nauseum in the future? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, check out EnkiriEliteFitness.com for online coaching and training programs, and keep training hard, guys. I will catch you all next time.